Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the Chuck Graham Show. Well, to the guy that said I had a shit podcast, thank you for watching. That was in the last show. You probably shouldn't read the comments, but sometimes I just have to. Alex Jones. Has anybody been watching the trial? Well, I was listening to Alex Jones give his synopsis of what was going on in the trial. And if what he said was true, and in a civil trial, you just have to establish the preponderance of the evidence. It's not beyond a reasonable doubt like a criminal trial is. You can plead the fifth, but you will absolutely destroy your case because you don't have the benefit of in other words, if you plead the fifth in a civil trial, you're going to admit to everything that they're asking you, unlike a criminal trial where it can be held against you. Anyway, but I was watching his show or watching him talk to the news media, right? And he was talking to the news media about losing your rights, and he was pretty calm. I heard the headline was Alex Jones goes off on, and that was the calmest I've seen Alex Jones in a long time. And I'm not I like Alex Jones. I think he's a little eccentric and a little crazy sometimes about some of the things that he said. But also, he makes some good points, and I think sometimes the frogs are gay. He goes off on these tangents, and sometimes he's joking and they take him serious. And when he did say that about the frogs being gay, it was actually due to a company dumping chemicals in the river that was changing the genders of the frogs. And if you know anything about tadpoles or frogs, temperature of the water determines male or female in tadpoles. So the chemical somehow or another was actually doing that. It didn't turn them gay. It changed male to female, and I guess they are just hypersensitive to that chemical. From what I read, but I digress. He goes into this about the judge stating to the jury that he's guilty. You just got to figure out how guilty he is. That was inappropriate. That's going to be if she said that, and I can't find where she did, but if what he said is true, you might as well get ready for appeal. And I said his attorneys sucked. They sucked. They didn't object. And everybody, well, they got to get it sustained. Some people were, yeah. But appellate courts work on the record. Whether or not the judge overrules all the objections, still object, because the appellate courts are going to be looking at the record. If you don't bring it up in the trial court, most likely you're not going to be able to bring it up in the appellate court. So that was my whole point. But I was watching this trial and I was thinking to myself, wow, not only does his attorney suck because they sent over information to the opposing counsel that was really damning to his defense, but I think that he's got good grounds for appeal if this judge actually said that. And the thing about it is, the attorneys should be objecting to a lot of there was a lot of hearsay that they could have objected to. There was a lot of relevance they could have objected to. And I'm thinking to myself, this is crazy, because I've seen a lot of civil trials, and this is not going well for him. And I think it's got to do with his incompetent legal counsel, or what I allege is incompetent legal counsel. And I hate that for him, because I think he did get on Megyn Kelly and apologize for the Sandy Hook comments. But what he was saying is knowing the government like we do, it could be possibly not true. And I think he retracted that later on, admitting that, yeah, it was true. And it doesn't take a rocket scientist to understand that yes, that was true. So I'm not a real conspiracy guy, but I do think the government lies. And I can see his point to where the government lies so damn much. It's hard to believe what they say. I mean, just look at the CDC, and that's as far as I'll go with that. But you get what I'm saying. And so, yeah, kind of a crazy crazy trial. I'm anxious to see how it's going to go. But I can assure you, and he's claiming he's bankrupt too. And I did hear this with my own ears. The judge said just because you file for bankruptcy doesn't mean you're bankrupt. Well, I beg to differ. Because if you're not bankrupt and you file for bankruptcy, then it's bankruptcy fraud. So what you saying, Judge? Is bankruptcy fraud or he's broke? We'll see. But the fact is I think that the judge has bias, blatant bias, because Alex Jones put her on his show and basically lit her on. She was in a flame standing by Lady Justice, and I think he's made some off-color comments about her, and that's not a good idea when you're going to end up in her court. But I think it's going to be appealed. If he has any money left, I think he'll appeal it. He said that he had, in that interview that I just watched, he said that he had $8 million in cryptocurrency that he spent on legal fees. So that tells me he spent $8 million on legal fees. And this has been going on for probably 4 years. So the other opposing counsel must be doing this shit on contingency for the family. I highly doubt that the family has coughed up the kind of cash it would take to go after Jones. So this law firm is hedging their bets on, or the plaintiff's law firm is hedging their bets on Alex not being bankrupt. Yeah, I don't know if I do that. And I do know that it's damages is not dischargeable, but you can't get blood out of a turnip, whether it's dischargeable or not. But anyway, that's all it's going to do for me today, and I hope everyone is doing well. I tried to make the video short. I'm off here, and I'm going to get to work and do some shit that actually makes me money. See you guys later. Bye.